I felt like where I heard is as chaotic and as fast paced as my thoughts and everybody's thoughts. You jump through like a million thoughts in a second. And so, like with the pieces I'm doing now, I'm really trying to tell a longer story and do a series that kind of encapsulates like one thought strain, but with various looks at it. Kind of like Alphonse Mucha went through, and when he did the seasons and everything, like they were all along the same lines, but if you look at them really, like the color palettes were all different. The typeset was the same, but the faces were all completely different, and he does different things, and some of them he's going for texture of light, and some of them he's going for texture of atmosphere, and some of them he's going for complete rendering of the eyes and the mouth, and simplistic rendering too. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to give you the most detail with the least amount of lines. So I'm going to highlight, and your eye is going to fill in the rest of the stuff. And so I feel like I try to go with what my heart says when I go to paint something. And a lot of times it's not consistent with what I just painted. Color schemes change. But I think that's also a part of it too, where I experiment all the time. And experimenting all the time, I think, is what makes you really, really good in the long run.
Yeah, you invest in yourself. You start listening to yourself.
So I kind of took that master's approach where I knew, like, I'm not going to paint anything really good until I'm 40, 45. So right now, I'm just learning as much as I can. I am pushing the paint as far as I can to the point of destruction. I'll push canvases, and even with like some stuff, I'll start it. And if I get to the point in my head where I can see the finish and I didn't really accomplish anything new, I didn't find anything, I didn't teach myself anything, I'll buff over it and I'll start a whole new thought process, because it's just like that with a thought, like where you're like, what am I thinking about that? It's fucking stupid. And you cut it out right then and you jump to the next thing. And
so this is Zach, so this is yours.
Yeah, this is Zach. The one behind me is me.
That's wine and wine.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, serendipity.
Yeah.
Have you had any of those two paintings together like this? Or is this first time?
No, actually, we have several paintings where like he either starts something and I take it over, or I've started stuff and he's completely changed it. It's super interdimensional with me and him. I feel like I can walk into his world and I can do things, and I never feel like I have to follow him or do what he did in any light, but I take so much of what he does and I try to encapsulate it into my work, because I feel like he's just there with texture, light, and rendering, composition, use of the material. Blows me away how he is unforgiving with the amount of water, and his strikes, like aggressive, hard strikes into the paint, and it's almost like kismet or will. He just does these things, and at the end of it, it's shaped out, and I couldn't have done that mathematically perfect. So that's where I think in being partners or doing anything together with another creative force, you gotta have a lot of places in there where you want to be, and at the same time there has to be the respect established that you don't feel like you have to follow this person or chase this person, you know what I mean? And it's been the same. A lot of it is just, it's all that is. I grew up in Compton, and right around Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood. So there was a role.
And how old were you? And what year was it?
Because I was born in 78, graduated high school in 96. So this is like right around like 95. My world is like what? Everybody has that TV show mentality, Brady Bunch lifestyle, family ties, where you got the neighborhood bully or the neighborhood guy, and then you got your best
friend. That's how it was.
The guy that, the kid that your mom didn't really like, but you hung out with him, so she accepted it, and like it was cool. My homie Damien, he decided he wanted to be a gangbanger. And we all ran around popping cubs and this, that, and, you know, wearing khakis and doing our thing, but not like this. And he really, he took the path. And then he got shot in the head 2 weeks after he joined up at a house party on the drive-by. And he was alive long enough for his dad to drive the 6 blocks away to get there. And he said, "I'm so sorry." That's all they could say when he passed. And my mom and dad didn't let me go to the funeral, and that kind of solidified that I was fucking done with Compton. I was out. I wasn't gonna deal with it. I wasn't gonna sit through this. I wasn't gonna watch anybody else die. You know what I mean? And when I graduated the following, I think, summer or the summer later, I graduated junior high. There was another kid. We were walking home. And like literally, we lived on 156. 156 runs all the way through Compton, all the way to like Torrance and Gardena. So our street, you know, we could walk it, and you know, we had various kids, and there was the kids from the right side of Central, and there was the kids from the left side of Central. And so we were walking home, and we got right there to Central. And I remember my man Dexter gave me a pound. He was like, "I'll see you this summer for sure. I'm going to start crossing the boulevard and coming to hang out with you guys." And that's when we were all just starting to take art. That was the year we all had the art teacher, Mr. Levi at Enterprise Middle School, who started teaching us real art stuff, real tricks, like not the fancy stuff, but just like, "Hey, you guys want to draw comic book characters? This is how you do it. This is how you draw all the different figures and stuff." And so Dex was like, "I'm crossing the bully this summer. We're going to bridge it. We're going to play football against you guys. We're going to hang out." I don't know how far Dex walked. By the time I walked the 6 blocks to my house, the school had called to find out if I had made it home because there were several drive-bys in the area, and Dexter was one of the kids that got hit. Like, it was pretty much 2 minutes after we did our pound and crossed the boulevard that he was walking up his street inside the neighborhood still. Some car came around and sprayed him. And I couldn't deal with Compton anymore.
Yeah, how old were you?
I was like 16, 15, 16, around 17.
Did you finish high school?
Like going to the 9th grade.
Did you finish high school?
Yeah, through bad paperwork. Parents registered me with this high school mail order thing, so I was doing that. And through bad paperwork, Compton High still had me on the books. And somehow I went through 4 years of Compton High School with perfect attendance and a degree. I got the diploma in the mail when I was like 18. I was like, I didn't ever step foot on that campus like almost one day. Like, cool. My certificate comes from the Long Beach School for Adults. And I went over there around when I should have been in the 11th grade. After doing some tours at like other high schools like Banning, taking like online or what would be online courses, but they're just mail home courses where the teacher mails you a package like from Jordan and Pop.
Oh, that's very interesting. I never heard of
Carson, and it was for parents that didn't want their kids to like get caught up in the gang life or something.
Have you thought about teaching?
A little bit. I get comfortable around the kids. I get comfortable around trying to explain like what I do, but I think more or less for me it's about a reflection. I try to be a reflection that I didn't see growing up. Every time it was career day, my dad was a long distance truck driver, and my mom worked in the school police department roundabout. So she was a crossing guard, she was a school policeman, she was a security guard.
So that's a lot of influence.
Yeah. And then at the same, they were both Marines.
Wow.
So having two military-oriented.
How did they end up in Compton? I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
My mom is from here. My dad's from Georgia. They were both stationed in the bases in Savannah in the Marine Corps. My mom was part of the G.A. Jane program, actually, where, Demi Moore has that whole movie, where there was actually a program where they put one chick in, and then they did a whole series of chicks in different factions of the Marine Corps. My mother was a part of that multiple.
Was it? I'm sorry. As a foreigner, I'm not sure this sounds racist or not. But was it like women of all color, or was it just like the Tuskegee men?
No, it was actually women at that point were the lowest of the minority, so it was women of all color. So
I just wanted to get a scope. I wasn't trying to see whether it was racist.
Because the first woman that actually went through it, I think, was white. And so when she did it, they decided to do. They couldn't classify because there wasn't enough women stepping up to really take the program. So they just had to take whoever would show up as a woman. Basically, the military had to give them the space to fail, and they didn't fail.
Right.
You still have women in the Marine Corps, Army Rangers, Navy now that are there because of things my mom went through, programs my mom did, like showing like she could be just as strong, just as dependable. You know what I mean? Maybe not in all the same spots as like some of the other spots, but as far as I know, my dad did reconnaissance. And so they met in training. So I gotta imagine my mom was in some sort of reconnaissance or cover for reconnaissance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like she's just always been the toughest lady I've ever known. I couldn't get away with a lot. And I remember being scared a couple times because I got in trouble. And like she's like, "Wait till your dad gets home." And I'm standing there, and my mom's there, my dad's there, and I'm getting yelled at. And I keep waiting like for this right cross. And it was actually a left haymaker. My mom just laid me out. And my dad had the same look on his face as I did, like, wow. She just laid you out. Yeah, I would do what this lady says from now on. And I just really, I don't know what I do without art. I don't know how people don't express themselves. I have a lot to say. I am upset about a lot of stuff and happy about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And just hearing how how it starts in Fair Verona is where our play be laid, like just those words, like just the way they painted that. And so I kind of think about that when I'm painting stuff too. And I try to lay my colors now just as smooth as those words come back. You know what I mean? Like in this place, like I start with yellows and I lay them with a turn of the yellow and orange before I lay the pure orange on top, because I want that exchange between the two. I want that mix. And it's crazy sometimes I see this way. I see these colors everywhere, and I am really, I guess, trying to work on trying to get out everything that I see and the way I see it.